Sorry I'm late. A few minutes late this morning. I apologise. Now then. The stream might be potentially, only potentially, but potentially hampered by technical issues. But I'm living in hope it'll all go okay. I'm living in hope. Thank you for all the pre-live likes, by the way. That's awesome. I appreciate that. How are we all anyway? I hope we're all good. It's Monday. It's another week. And we're going up to Edinburgh today. We're at Bristol Airport in the southwest of England. And we're going to go up to Scotland. Shouldn't be a massively long flight. Oh, nice bit of pop in there. Well done. So I want to check my graphics settings a minute. Nice. Get rid of vertical sync. Magic. Yeah, so we're heading up to Edinburgh. Shouldn't be too far. Usually about an hour. We might get to come back if time is on our side, as long as we don't have any catastrophes on the way into Edinburgh that might force a go around or, you know, all that sort of stuff. Right. Shall we jump into the cockpit and get this thing fired up? Get ourselves off to Edinburgh. We're going to be using the runway we can see here, actually. We're going to be using runway 27, which will shoot us off sort of to the west. We'll go over, well, you can sort of see in the mini-map there in the bottom left. We'll sort of go over Cardiff. The SID we're using is BCN1X, I believe. BCN stands for Brecon, which is an area within Wales. The Brecon Beacons, you might have heard of it. Very, very pretty part of the world. Bevy's in the chat. Morning, Bevy. You're right. I added 52 rocket engines to my paper plane, as well as 20 missiles. That's brilliant. I'd expect nothing less, Bevy. So I have news. I do have news. There's something else in my setup today. And at this time I can neither confirm nor deny what it is. Right, let's get this tablet fired up, shall we? There we go, EGGD, Bristol, up to Edinburgh. What's the wind doing at Edinburgh? A bit windy. Nice and calm here, though. That's good. I like it. Fuel. Bevy, you read me like a book. Yeah, I've got the Thrustmaster yoke. I finally caved. I got a good deal on it. I was waiting for the right deal, and the right deal presented itself, so yeah, I couldn't say no, really. Couldn't say no. However, I am not using it today, because obviously the more eagle-eyed amongst you will notice we're in the Airbus, hence the side stick down here. The other thing is that I am having to... Hey, Jalise! The other thing, I'm having to completely rearrange my entire setup to accommodate it, because it is huge. Like, absolutely, it's way bigger than I thought it was going to be. And I don't know why I thought it wasn't going to be as big as it was, but the Thrustmaster yoke is huge. It's the amount it sticks out from your desk. So if you imagine it if you were to clamp it onto your desk. The actual unit kind of... Yes, Jalise, I got the yoke. Finally, right? But we're not using it today. I've got a bunch of stuff coming from Amazon today. I've got like monitor arms, I've got new cables, I've got USB hubs, I've got all sorts. Because I've had to completely rearrange my flight sim setup. So, here's the plan. Usually when I do these streams, and I am right now, this is probably going to be the last time, I use my 27-inch Dell gaming monitor. And I kind of pop my joystick and my throttles down, sort of just next to my keyboard and mouse, and rudder pedals on the floor. Then when I'm done with the stream, I sort of push the rudder pedals to one side across the floor so they're out of the way, so when I'm playing, I don't know, Call of Duty, Halo, whatever, I haven't got all my flight sim gear in the way and I sort of move it. I also have a TV in this room, which I have my PS5 on with a steering wheel. So I'm going to de-rig the steering wheel, put that somewhere else with the PS5 somewhere else, and I'm going to make my 4K TV my flight sim setup, which means I can have my rudder pedals, my yoke, and my Airbus stick permanently set up. But it means I'm having to rearrange everything, and like I say, cables, monitor arms, all sorts of stuff to make that happen. It's just the yoke is so big. I was not ready for how big it was. I put it on the desk, clamped it to the desk in front of my 27-inch monitor, and I was like, whoa, I am so far away from this 27-inch monitor. I can barely see any of the instruments. Because it's like a pendular yoke. Because obviously, like in a real Boeing, the yoke is anchored to the floor, and it kind of comes up from the floor on a giant post, and it rocks back and forwards. Well, they've tried to recreate that by making about 30 centimeters extra of stuff that sticks out from your desk. So it really is right between your legs when you're flying it. But obviously that pushes you further back from your normal seating position. You're like 30 centimeters further away from your screen than you otherwise would be. So actually it's working really well on the TV. But it means I need to de-rig my whole kind of studio, I guess you could call it, out here, and re-rig it. So that's happening today. It may bleed over in tomorrow, so don't get your hopes up for a stream tomorrow. Tomorrow night, that is. There might not be one. Not that I know time zones don't often work out for a lot of you guys for the evening ones, but yeah, may have to sacrifice tomorrow's stream. Anyway, let's get this bird fired up, shall we? So yeah, I've had the yoke since Saturday and I haven't even flown with it yet. I haven't touched it. Could be faulty for all I know. Like, do all this and have to send it back. I kind of feel like I should maybe do a setup tour when it's all done though. Would you be up for that? That could maybe be cool. Definitely found the limit though of my 3070, putting it on the 4K TV. Like running at 1440p is usually fine. But yeah, all of a sudden it was like, ooh, I cannot run at 60. 4K 60, can't do it. Alright, APU bleed, there we go. Let's get our nav and logo lights on. Hey Oliver, how's it going? Nice to see you. Nice. Sounding like old Brucey now. Right, what am I doing? APU bleed is on. Good times. Navs, that's what I'm doing. Getting distracted here. External power, off. Fuel pumps, on. Oxygen crew supply, off. On, even. Emergency lights, no smoking lights, on. There we go. Right, we'll wait for all this to do its thing. There we go, let's get this fired up. So ATSU, AOC, init data request. So it's about an hour up to Edinburgh. Not too far. Go. It's looking good. Let's do our 0 fuel weights. Do the fuel. Perf. 1/UP0.1. (131 V1), 132 rotate, 136 V2. Yeah, Jalise, we might actually have a chance for a return today. We might have a chance for a return. So we're going on BCN 1X. BCN stands for Brecon. Don't know if you look in the mini map there in the bottom, that is where we sort of turn and head north. That's kind of Brecon. The Brecon Beacons. Very popular area of Wales. for holiday makers and all of that stuff. There we go, look. Never been to Brecon. Then we just basically head north, northeast. Aha, here we go. Then we're going to come in on runway 24, I believe. Yeah, 24. ILS 24. And then this star right here now. Have we got EDN or TLA? Consult my chart a moment. Ah! Just close the window. We'll go via TLA. Okay, so Bristol. Dum 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 dum. In theory, oh, what's it doing? What's it doing? Okay, that makes sense. So we will clear Tartan. And then go direct to TLA from Escdo. There we go, that's a plan. That's a plan. Right, flight directors are on. Local pressure is 1026. Right, and these up a bit. Looking good. Thrust leaves are idle. Weather radar is in op. It is auto standby. Predictive weather. Auto. Lock the door, and of course, flaps are set to full, and speed brakes are armed because I went into the menu. I don't know why it does that. Every time I go into the menu, always does that. Super annoying. Never mind. Right, we're going to need some lights. Seatbelt lights, and we'll put our beacon on because we're going to start pushing back in a mo. So we've got parking brake set, windows closed, external power off, AP bleed on. Good. Now then, do we have any altitude restrictions? So we've got 6. That wants us at 6. That wants us above 4.5. So 6 is the limit. Then we go to above 8. Then flight level 240. We stay at 240 till. Ooh, that's getting yourself confused there, isn't it? That's okay. So we'll do 6 in the window, I think is the way to do it. 6 in the window. Right, let's see if we can pre-plan our pushback today, shall we? I suppose we could do it to there. That makes sense. Days. Hey JD, good morning, how are you? Finally got a day off. Amazing. How's the flying going? How are you getting on? Okay, so we should be able to request pushback now, right? Of course, there's no tug. So what do? Just pretend there's one. See what happens here. If there's no tug, it won't work. Ah, that's annoying. Okay. What if we were to call a tug? Can we call a tug through here? Yeah. Alright, we'll have to cancel it then. Stop it all. Do it the old-fashioned way, shall we? No, not you. There we go. Sound. Let's get flap set. Oh, you got the QUADRANT add-on. I'm getting really tempted to buy that, but I've just bought the Thrustmaster yoke, so I'm kind of like feeling like I've spent enough for the minute. I saw a really cool 3D printed add-in for the Thrustmaster add-on, the QUADRANT add-on, where it gives you kind of built-in detents for the Boeing. Then you can use it for both. I've got a mate with a 3D printer. Oh, it stopped. So he's currently on standby. Oh, it's being silly now, isn't it? Come on, back you go. Don't do this to me. Right, let's park and brake on. Tug detached. Hey Wessam, good morning. Yeah, currently this stream might get a bit weird. I just need to check my rudder pedals work actually. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they look good. I've had to re-plug everything in because I'm deconstructing my setup and rebuilding it because of this blimmin' Thrustmaster yoke. So big. I cannot emphasise how big it is. Absolutely huge. Because it sticks out off the edge of your desk by about 30 centimetres. Because obviously it needs to recreate that sort of pendular feeling, the way it rocks backwards and forwards. It's a very impressive bit of kit, but my goodness, it's big. Alright, so we are started. Engine switch back to normal. Do APU bleed off, APU master off. Auto brake, we'll do max in a minute. We'll do our strobe lights now. They're on. Those lights will do the taxi. And we'll do runway tunnel flights on. No white lights. It's always a good start. Now, auto brakes. Max. The thing is, JD, I've had it since Saturday, this yoke. I haven't even flown with it yet. I've got loads of... I've got to redo all my cabling, put monitors on monitor arms, so I've got a box from Amazon turning up today full of bits. And then tonight I'm going to get the screwdrivers out and the double-sided tape and go for it. See if I can get the setup built. But it does mean I'll be moving from my 1440p monitor to my 4K TV. And it does mean that then my TV is a permanent flight sim zone. I got the yoke, yes! Got the yoke. I haven't even flown with it yet. That's the thing. That's all my cables are the wrong length. I can't, like, where I need it set up, I haven't got cables long enough to plug it in, so it's all a bit of a mess, but Amazon is saving the day. They're coming today. Right. Auto brake is set, flaps are 1, auto brake, ground spoilers are armed, strobes are on, yada yada yada. I think we're good. Takeoff config. Normal! Finally, eh? Right, time for a taxi. Morning, Smokey. Nice to see you. I'm thinking I should do it once I've done all this. Like, I feel like it's going to take a little bit of work. Once I've done it all, I might do like a little setup tour video. The plan is to have the yoke in the middle, and then the throttle quadrant to one side, and then the side stick to the other side. Then, regardless of what I'm flying, everything can stay rigged up constantly. Obviously, rudder pedals underneath the desk. It does mean, with the yoke there though, it means I sort of have to really lean to get to the joystick and the throttles on the desk, so I'm going to try and make some like desk extensions that sort of like hang under the desk. I know Thrustmaster makes something similar, but they're like £100. I'm not paying that. But I've got some of my desk material left, so I might see if I can do my carpenter impression and try and do something. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, if you're expecting a stream tomorrow night, I wouldn't hold your breath. I didn't know you were on TikTok, JD. I'll follow you. I will follow you. Right, let me make sure everything's good here. Hey, there's no shame. We'll show those young'uns how it's done. Has anyone tried a head tracker, by the way? I see that Toby put one out last week, didn't they? A few of the bigger YouTubers got sampled. Right, let me just get this over here. And we'll do our lights. Lovely. Let's go and line up and get gone, shall we? I'll find you, don't worry. I don't really feel like I'm using TikTok to its fullest potential. I'm just basically uploading whatever would be a YouTube short onto there. I always feel really wary about making like a standard video. Like, I can sit here and stream with you all and just be completely chill, and then if I try and make a normal video, like press record, and then it's like, right, go. I get really weird. Like, I just feel awkward. A 210 in the window. If I can find the buttons, there we go. 6,000. Right. Shall we go? Let's go. And hold it on the brakes. Get to a 50% N1. Let the engine stabilise. It's a good job we did, because the right engine went significantly quicker than the left then. Entirely sure how useful head tracking would be though. I kind of feel like it might be a bit annoying because I do tend to squirm around quite a lot. I know you can turn it off. Let's rotate. No wind at all here today. Love to see it. Positive rate of climb, 50 degrees, gear up. Oh, airsoft as in like, what's it? Got to do TCAS. Yeah, I've got some friends that do airsoft, they get quite into it. Looks cool. So we need to set 6,000 initially. But we can go up to 250 knots. Yeah, BB guns for adults, yeah. Don't they have to be like bright orange now or bright blue or something? Alright, so we're coming up on 6,000. Here we shall stay for a moment. We're going to head over across the River Severn. I guess this is more like a Bristol Channel, isn't it, at this point? And start our turn towards Bracken. Rocking the new kit today. No, we're not. We're not. And you know what? I haven't even used it yet. How ridiculous is that? I've had it since Saturday. Basically, I had the morning to myself on Saturday, as you know, I think. And wife and the kids are out. So I was like, sweet. Like, yeah, if this thing arrives at like 10 a.m, I've got like 2 hours with it. Their car arrived back home, literally followed by the DPD van. I was like, God damn it. Then when I tried to set up in the evening, all my cables were the wrong length. The place where I thought I was going to put it wasn't going to work, so now I've rearranged the entire shed. It's kind of in bits as I sit in it now, but I've got it to a state where I can do this morning. Amazon will be here later, so I'm told, with cables and monitor arms and USB hubs and all that good stuff. So fingers crossed we can have a go with it. Nice, so we can actually start going a bit higher now in 2 miles once we get to this waypoint here. This waypoint wants us at 6,000 exactly. The next one is above flight level 80. So in theory we can just set ourselves to 240, which will be our cruise because we're not going far today. Oh, there we go. Right, let's get 240 in the window. And, oops. put it in the manage mode, that's the dot, so the plane will control its own climb. So we've got the waypoint BCN right in front of us, which is Bracken, of course. Bracken beacons. Then we make a turn to the right, which takes us almost perfectly north. And we head on up. Coming up on 10,000 feet. Turn off the lights. Standard altitude pressure. Disarm the spoilers. Flaps are up. Nice. Not too far to go, 295 miles, so well inside of an hour. We might even make it back. I need to figure out how I'm going to sort out this like yoke count thing. I think that'd be a cool idea for the channel. So for takeoffs and for landings, we'll get rid of the map. See if I can get a camera sort of pointed at the joystick, yoke, throttle configuration. That might be quite cool. There we go, so this will be Bracken, or the waypoint Bracken at least. This is one of those flights where you need to keep an eye on yourself really, because much like Gatwick to Amsterdam, you can get yourself up in the air and then if you're not careful, you become distracted and kind of overshoot where you need to descend because it's really, really quick. It might not be a bad idea just to have a look at when we need to start descending. Right, 281 to Edinburgh from where we are. We're at flight level 240, or we will be. What's it, 20,000 feet? In rev. D0 2AM. 028. It's going to be that one. So 227 miles. It wants us at 6,000. So let's do the maths on that. If we're at 24,000, we need to go to 6,000. And if we do it at 2,000 feet a minute, roughly, 50 miles required. So if we keep an eye on this one here, when we're 50 miles away, we'll start our descent. I'm interested to see what sort of a line we're going to be taking. Yeah, so I think when we get to in-pit, you've got 18, 28, 41, yeah, about 50, 55-ish. We'll keep an eye out for in-pit. When we get to in-pit, I think that's basically going to be our top of descent point. How's the pole doing? I haven't checked on the pole. I bet it's 50-50. You don't always go 50-50 on the poles. Not far off, 62.38 in favour of the Dreamliner. Huh. Surprises me. Well, that's a nice view, let's have that. I guess we could do some external views actually, couldn't we? Turn that down. Here's what I will do before we get too carried away. There. Make sure I've got all relevant information on my other monitor so I can see what the plane's up to. We'll use FSLTL. No, I was looking at that at the weekend actually, because obviously FS Traffic's just come out, hasn't it? And the obvious comparison is from FS Traffic is FSLTL. Given that I don't go on VATSIM at the moment, and I'm still unsure as to my intentions there, the only thing I thought that would be really cool is if I could put my own liveries into it, and basically everywhere we go there's like loads of Air Not planes. So if you land at Heathrow, all you see is like my tails everywhere. I thought that'd be quite funny. Take a monopoly on the market. Yeah, that's what concerns me, Wesson, is the FPS hit. I know they say that they're FPS friendly, but don't know. Yeah, I saw about Flybe over the weekend. That's a shame. I used to fly Flybe all the time. Used to go over to Dublin for work. Is it the Dash 8s? They were cool little planes as well. They would absolutely whiz. It was a great airline. They'd operate out of nice little small airports, and they were not very stressful to go through. They'd get you exactly where you wanted to be on time every time. That was really good. I suppose one benefit of me moving to a 4K TV is that I could stream to YouTube in 4K. I hadn't actually considered that. Yeah, it was close a while ago, JD, wasn't it? Didn't someone come in to sort of like rescue them? One of these like venture capital kind of... I know, it was pretty close, wasn't it? I wonder if I could do that with FSLTL, just put my livery in it. Just so that was the only livery I ever saw in the game. Imagine like if we landed into Dubai and there was a load of A380s just lined up on the terminal, all of them in my colours. That'd be so cool. Everywhere we go, doesn't matter where we go, America, Asia, Middle East, Europe, Australia, just air not everywhere. I'm always a little bit unsure really with YouTube and using other companies' liveries, because they could take issue with it, couldn't they, really? Yeah, ultimately it's not my logo, it's not my brand, it's not my trademark. I've got no right to be using it, really. Whether it's just one of those things where we're too small for them to care. I sometimes wonder. I guess it doesn't impact me in any case because I've kind of gone down the whole virtual airline route. Kind of gone quite hard on that, so... Yeah, that always amazes me too, Wessam, it really does. But then it's so accessible. I think putting it on Game Pass was a big win for them, really, because you know it's an expensive game, isn't it? If you were to just buy it, especially if you start going for the deluxe ones. But even the standard one, it's not cheap. But yeah, if you're on Game Pass. It's on Game Pass and it's on the Xbox. That's pretty cool, I would say. You say that, Wessam. I was thinking of hiring a voice artist on Fiverr, sort of like writing my own little script. I'll try and make it generic so that we can use it on any flight. Doesn't matter. Yeah, obviously wouldn't have the announcer say, "Welcome aboard this flight from Bristol to Edinburgh," because every time I do one, I'd need one per flight, which would be unfeasible. But yeah, I was thinking of maybe doing that. Get like a bespoke cabin crew announcement at the start as we taxi back, or push back rather. Then when we land, I could maybe do it for each aircraft. You know, welcome aboard this A320neo, airnaut, whatever, that sort of thing. As long as I kept it generic enough that destinations were kept out of it, that could be quite cool. UA Air Force C-17 in. Wow, those things must be huge. Sometimes see stuff like that going overhead. Never sure where they're going or what they're up to. Oh yes, EastJet, yeah. Gav, yeah, he's yeah, I think he uses his own voice. At least maybe for what would come out of the cockpit anyway. So I could do those. I could sort of do the captain announcement at the start, and the. Does the captain usually say anything when they touch down? Yeah, there must be like voice artists on Fiverr I could hire quite cheap to do it. Usually an announcement, weather, temp and time. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, now you say it. Haven't done a lot of flying really since COVID. I've flown once. Well, twice if you count coming home, but... Right. Time for destination data. Ooh, that's a bit laggy. So how are we doing on the plan? In pip is what we're going to keep looking for. Let's go into perf. Alright, what's QNH on the ground in Edinburgh? 1019. Temperature 4, 250 and 9. So what have we got out the window now? We're past Manchester, aren't we? So I guess Liverpool's similarly behind us. Sort of back there. Are we heading up to, what, Cumbria? This is where my geography starts to get a bit ropey. North of Birmingham, I start to get a bit hazy. Oh. No comment, JD. I guess we're going to go over the lakes, right? Looking at where that line goes on the map. No comment needed. So where is this now? We look like we're going over something hilly. Is that the Pennines? Or was it the Peak District? Yorkshire Dales is over to the east, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. I'm lost. Absolutely lost. Up over Preston towards the Lake District. So what's all the hills beneath us? Is that the peaks? Peak District? Yesterday I tried to fly to Iceland, and when I checked if the airport was normal, I see a huge dent in the runway. The taxiway. Oh. Oh, is it bugged? That's annoying. Remember when we fell through the taxiway at Vegas? That was when I was just getting used to doing cold and dark starts, so they took ages. It took ages getting the plane warmed up. Start taxiing. Boff. Just fall through the floor. Okay, we'll start again. So is this the Lake District now that we're over? It's a tricky one, Westham, isn't it? Because, like, obviously it's unfeasible for them to do every airport in the world themselves. So it's quite cool that they managed to do what they did with the AI. So then it's like, do you buy all these airports that all the add-on makers make that are expensive, but you think because you've paid for them they're probably guaranteed to work quite well? Or do you then go down the freeware route and risk more potential crash to desktops? I don't know. It's a hard one to work out. I think my issue is that the amount of places we go, if I was to buy the airport for every single place we go, or most places, I'd have no money, like I'd be in debt. Because they're not cheap, it's like £20-30 sometimes for an airport. For one airport. So all we do is land and then we just leave again, basically. Yorkshire Dales to the right. Thought so, yeah. So this is the lakes that we're over. So where's the peaks? Is that down near Sheffield? In between Sheffield and Manchester? You can tell I'm a southerner, can't you? So anywhere north of Birmingham, I'm like, yep, I don't know. Don't know. I can get to London, I can get to Birmingham. That's it. Up with the Lake District, Peaks is Derby area. Okay. Wow, we're doing quite a crab at the moment. Check this out. Oh no, it's actually getting better. Yeah, we've got 77 knot wind coming at us in this direction. Right, so how far are we? 95 to the waypoint. We need to be at 6,000 feet. Navigator of the North. Yeah, you can be my co-pilot for anywhere in the north of England. How's that? Flight engineer. So what's all this over here? Is this the Yorkshire Dales then? I remember going on a school trip to the Lake District when I was a kid, a residential, and there was a day trip to the Yorkshire Dales, so it can't be that far. Is it Malham Cove? Sure we went there. The limestone pavements. That's what I remember. Yorkshire Dales and Pennines, gotcha. See, I'm learning. I must admit, Wesson, I'm feeling similarly addicted to the 737 the more I fly it. And it just feels, to me, it feels weird when I fly it on the joystick. It feels way too sensitive. It just doesn't feel like it's the right tool to fly it. And again, when I did the 737 sim day, what really struck me about the plane was how much movement you had to put into the yokes to get the plane to do anything. And of course you sort of translate that onto a joystick. Like the maximum movement on a joystick is like sort of a swing of like an inch either way. So actually it's just not like a very small movement on the joystick is equivalent to quite a lot on the yoke, which makes it quite tricky to fly on a joystick in my opinion. Which is kind of why I wanted to get the yoke. What struck me was how you really had to pull the thing almost into your stomach. Like the yoke, like the instructor said, like you will need to pull this right back. Lake should be over there, right? Sort of behind us a bit now. Or is this the lakes? No, wait. Oh, this is the lakes, right? Oh, I don't know. I'm lost. I did very much enjoy the Lake District though. It was a long time ago, but it's very cool. Is that a shadow or a lake? I think that's a lake. Yeah, this has to be the lakes, because look, lake. Doing on our plan. So when we get to in-pip, we're going to start our descent down to 6,000 feet. Time to fly an A320 with a yoke. Yeah, I don't know how that would actually work. I guess you could. I've got no intentions of ditching my joystick. In fact, I want to set it up so I've got sort of yoke in the middle, joystick on the left, see if I can learn to fly it in the captain's position, and then throttle quadrant on the right. Then regardless of what I fly, I can just use whatever. But I need to make some desk extenders to kind of bring the joystick and the throttle quadrant out further. Because the yoke, the Thrustmaster yoke, sticks out by about 30 centimetres, which means everything's on the desk is 30 centimetres further away. Because the Thrustmaster yoke needs that overhang off the desk to sort of recreate that pendular feeling that you get from the Boeing yoke. Try and make it feel like the thing is almost anchored to the floor on a giant post. Which it does very well. It does that very, very well indeed. Maybe when I get it all set up, we'll do a stream and we'll just kind of mess around for like an hour or two. Just do some like loops around various airports. Sort of a SID and then transition into a star. Do a little loop. Just to get used to flying it, see how we get on. Try some different conditions. Set some winds. Just see what we can do. So I think it would be wrong of me to jump into a full flight like this with the yoke for the first time. Ooh, Edinburgh to Stansted, nice. That'd be similar sort of time and distance, isn't it really? I guess Stansted is just further to the east. Hey Worcesters, how's it going? Or should that be pronounced Woo Sisters? May have just butchered that. Can I escort? I'm not actually on any sort of VATSIM network or anything, so I'm just single player. So I wouldn't see you, unfortunately. Right. Time to start our descent. Top of descent down to 6,000. 2,000 feet a minute. And we'll start making our way down. There we go, look. So throttles are idling back, or drawing back. The plane should find its altitude descent rate 2,000 feet per minute. Now I'm hoping with the sort of semi-headwind we've got going on here that the speed will remain under control quite nicely. That's my hope. I'm sat here. I haven't done Edinburgh in a long time, JD, you know, it's I think the last time I did it, do you remember, what was that storm called? Was it Storm Dudley? Was that the one? It was when we seemed to get loads of storms that had like names, because they were all that bad. And one of them was going up over Edinburgh, and I tried to do a landing. I think it's still on the channel somewhere, like buried deep in the archives. I tried to do a landing into Edinburgh during that storm. How are we doing here? Transition altitude 7,000 today. Okay. Still 1019. It's gone up to 1020. It's changed on us. There we go. Fly-by-wire VNAV, I know. It seems like, and I could be wrong, it seems like maybe the A380 is waiting for that in some way. I get the impression they're going to launch the A380 with VNAV. So once this gets it, it's not going to be long. That's just my guess. I mean, I don't know, but that would be my guess anyway. I think once the A320neo gets VNAV, it's like why would you use anything else in this kind of thing? For me anyway, the level I'm at, the detail that I require from a plane, VNAV is the one thing I would say is missing, but beyond that it's like, and the weather radar. Once those two come to the stable build, I would say this thing for me is almost functionally complete. But then the more you learn, the more you kind of hit the ceiling. Yeah, I think the A380 will be my kind of go-to long-haul airliner. But saying that, now I've got the yoke, I might be more interested to do the Boeings. Especially when PMDG come out of like a 7.4 or a 7.7. Don't be alarmed that we're going off course on the map. It's, for whatever reason, SimToolkit Pro didn't have the star that we're going to be going in on. So it basically is just drawing a straight line from that last waypoint. But we're going to take a slightly different route. Yoke cam. Yeah, I'm going to work on yoke cam. I do have a camera. It's weird because when I sort of thought I'd give this streaming stuff a go, I was like, well, of course I need a camera because that's what streamers do. And I always hated having it on. Always felt like it was something I didn't particularly want. So it's kind of just sat there not being used really. And it wasn't until I started discovering more streamers that just don't have a cam that are totally successful and it totally works for them. And actually, in some ways, I think it almost benefits the stream not having a cam, because you look at some streamers that have a cam on and all they do is just sit there. Like, no expression on their face, just gaming. It's like, why am I even watching that? It's really weird. So it'd be cool to repurpose the camera as a like a yoke cam. And watch me struggle to land. The Captain Sim one is just basically a skin, isn't it? Right, speed brakes are required at this point. It seems the plane is struggling to maintain. We'll get down to 250 knots for 10,000. I did wonder that, Rob, yeah. I did mention that a while ago. Yeah, we're nearly there now. The answer was, yeah, I'll set up. I'll move my camera somewhere else, such that I can hopefully get a decent angle on the yoke and the joystick and all that stuff. Oh yeah, I love this channel. You're actually curious. You're not going to get into simming, Rob, are you? Surely not. Is it going to be a crosswind landing? So we're coming in on runway 24, and the wind is at 250. So a 10-degree delta, and it's 9 knots. So nothing to worry about, really. Although this is getting a bit bumpy. It's time for some lights. Ugh. There we go. We'll do. We don't need that. So we can do a right turn. Yeah, Rob. Whatever. This is your first step. I can feel it. Yeah, it'll be cool. I think basically, like at this point in the flight, we can all agree that we're almost at Edinburgh. I mean, you've got the progress bar, you've got the map that's like, yep, there's Edinburgh. Kind of doesn't serve much of a purpose anymore, so once it's kind of time for me to take control of the aircraft anyway, it'll be quite cool. Are you looking at steering wheels? Any standing out? Come on, there we go. Ah, why would it do it? Right, what was it? 1020, wasn't it? 1020. Oh, well, say no more. First of all, happy birthday for tomorrow, but yeah, it's got to be done. I mean, my 2 cents for what it's worth, I bought the PlayStation variant of the Logitech G923. And when I play on PC, I wish I'd bought the Xbox variant, because I think with it being Xbox, it all magically sort of works. But I wanted it for the PS5 so I could use it with Gran Turismo, so that's the price I have to pay. Because there's a new version, there's G29 in terms of the PlayStation variants. There's the G29 and then there's the G923. The 923 is the newer one, which has like the haptic feedback that it adds through the wheel, so it listens to the audio, and it in some cases can link in with the game's audio engine to send haptics through the wheel in addition to the force feedback, which is really cool. The issue is, because it's a much newer wheel, a lot of the PC games that I would sometimes use it with, I think Forza Horizon 5 was fine, but once you start going back to older titles, obviously that game was made way before the wheel existed. So had I gone for the older variant, the G29, the game would have recognised it and auto-mapped everything. But as a result, I had to do loads of mapping, because I bought the newer wheel. So just a heads up on that. But then again, I don't know if you got the Xbox version, perhaps, because it's all Microsofty, it would play nicer than my PlayStation 1. Because again, like in Forza Horizon, it would normally say like press A to continue or press B to do this, like if you've got the controller plugged in. If I plug the wheel in, because it's a PlayStation wheel working over USB on the PC, it will say like press button 8 to continue. I'm like, what's button 8? I don't know. So I have to sort of map in my mind, X is button 8, circle is button 7. So it's a bit clunky basically. Cool wheel though. So we're going 4,000 feet, then 3, and down we go. But yeah, Logitech I would say is a good bet. Thrustmaster ones are belt driven. If you go for the T300, I had a T300 years ago and I sold it like a fool. Wish I didn't. So that's belt driven, so the motion on the wheel is a little bit smoother, force feedback can be a little bit stronger, but the disadvantage with the Thrustmasters, I think, is that the power supply, because they need external power for the force feedback, the power supply is built into the wheelbase, so if the power supply ever pops, the whole wheel's gone, whereas the Logitech, it's on an external brick. Having had both, and on paper the Thrustmaster is apparently slightly better. Having had both, I would say the Logitech is totally fine. Only difference if you go for the newer variants is the brake. The feel on the brake pedal is different. Brake pedals are very stiff on the earlier model, I think. So the first 50% is fine, then after that you hit like a rubber stopper and it goes really hard, and they kind of adjusted that on the newer ones, but you can brake mod them. If you Google like Logitech G920 brake mod, there's so much that appears. Right, how many miles are we from when we need to be at 4,000? 3, 2, 2, 1. That's probably about time, isn't it? Decel coming up shortly. Yeah, the shifter's not a bad call, is it? I got the shifter, I think I got mine on a deal where they basically gave me the shifter, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Although that being said, if I'm playing something like Gran Turismo where I just want the fastest lap time possible, I'll be using the paddles. What's going on here on my map? Why is there a discontinuity? There's not. Okay, that's weird. Right, time to start decelerating. Let's activate our approach mode. Landing system on. Right, down to 3,000. Do speed into managed. You can see the plane is trying to get us down there. We're beneath the glide slope, which is good. Hey, Nick's here. Morning, Nick. Evening, Nick. What are you sorry for, Nick? There's nothing to be sorry for. Alright, where's this airport? That'll be that over there then. See, Edinburgh's loading itself in. Lose those speed brakes. Flaps full. Curious. Let's do that. Okay. Cheers, Wessam. Why is the plane doing that? There we go. Okay. Auto brake medium. Lights are on. Flaps are full. Speed brakes are armed. The airport. I've got a funny feeling I remember it being like there. Was that it there? That could be it, I think. Spring media settings for what? For graphics or? There's the airport, nice. Oh yeah, the Nvidia filters. I've been thinking about adding some of those. They do look good. Right, approach mode on. Okay, well that's not the wind that was advertised, is it? It's doing it again. Live weather is trolling us yet again. So 310 and 27, and we were told 250 and 9. So it's got 60. It's basically coming from over here. It needs to get around to here and come at us from this direction and drop by 20 knots. And it'll probably do it all at once at the last minute. Gah. Gotta love life. It still makes it fun, doesn't it? It's almost like a challenge at this point. I'm almost over getting angry at it. It's just like, yeah, fine, we'll just see if we can handle whatever it throws at us. It's like when you get within a certain mile range of the airport, it's like it throws in a new set of weather. Right, that's the glide slope. You hear the engines going back. Don't crash. I'll try, Nick. I always try.
$2,500.
Gear down. Because we do not want a repeat of Newcastle. So when's this weather going to reload on us? It'll be any minute, right? We are indeed. Right, 2,000 feet, I'll take control. And we'll see what happens, shall we? That's right, Watermelon, we may be going back. We're only going back down to Bristol, so it's not far. About an hour each way. Okay, I think the wind is starting to change. Feels like I need less of a crab to maintain. Yeah, the wind is lessening. It's now 270. Is it going to do it gradually, or is it going to like do it all at once? The plane will start shaking.
1,000.
We're a bit low. A little bit on the low side. Yeah, it's completely twisted. It's twisting round now to 250 where it should be. Oh yeah, you can feel the wind now as it's
500.
As it's changing on us. Oh, you can definitely feel it reloading the weather. Oh, we're a bit low. Let's get ourselves back on profile.
$300.
Come on, too low. We just have to live with this. There we go.
200. $100. 50. 40. 30. 20, 10, 5.
There it is. A little bit firm, but at least the ground spoilers will deploy on their own. We're not landed back in Bristol. We took off from Bristol, Watermelon, and we're now in Edinburgh. So we're going to find ourselves a gate. Turn ourselves around. And head on back down, I think. Yeah, it was a bit firm, that one. I struggled there. That wind was giving me a bit of an annoyance. Yeah, we're flying back. We're going to find a gate, get ourselves reset up. Go this way. Yeah, I mean, it's only an hour each way, really, isn't it? So I should have plenty of time. I've got another hour and a half yet that I can stream for. I don't know what it is with the wind, Wardsmelon. It's bizarre. It really is bizarre. I almost feel like there's room for an add-on. It just needs to maybe smooth it out. And it's tricky because I feel it because I'm the one putting the inputs through the joystick, so you sort of feel when the plane doesn't react to what you think it's going to do, and then you look and it's like, oh, the wind's spinning around me. Of course it is. It is very strange. But I think what bothers me, I think to you all watching, it just looks like I'm throwing the plane around and I can't keep control of it, but actually it's trying to fight. No worries, Elise. I completely understand. Silly tanker, get out of the way. Can I make it to 787 or a 747? It's on the list of things to do. It's on the list. It'd help if I did this, wouldn't it? I need the APU on. Should have done that back there. Right, parking brake on, waiting for this to become available because I was silly and didn't do it when we were taxiing. In the meantime, I'm going to make a quick flight plan on SimBrief to get us back. See how quickly we can do a turnaround. It's 10 to 11 now. Let's see what time we're in the air. Car literally crashed, I know. Okay, SimBrief is making the plan. APU bleed. So, does this mean... flight planning. Load last SimBrief. Go. So if I finish that flight, load, fly now. Good. Okay, engine's off. Let's get ourselves sorted. I always find this really weird, doing another flight without being completely cold and dark. So, fuel ourselves, download the payload. It's all good. So we're in Edinburgh and we're going to go back to Bristol. So let's get the new flight data. go. Oops. Menu, ATSU, AOC. Where are we flying tomorrow night? When you say tomorrow night, do you mean your tomorrow night or my tomorrow night? Because I've got the... You weren't here earlier, Nick, were you? I've got the Thrustmaster yoke now. Which means... I'm having to redo my entire setup to accommodate it, because it's way bigger than I thought it was going to be. It's huge. Yeah, a short-haul flight at night time would be quite cool, wouldn't it? I don't do as many of those. I think mostly because I don't feel all that confident doing it. Because I did one in Munich once and I got lost. I think I'd be better at it now. Right. Flight plan. Let's take off. Runway 24. And what's our star? That one. Corsair 1C. Then into Bristol. Runway ILS 27. And we do AMRA. Via Bristol. Alright, let's check it out. Let's go into plan. So, out of Edinburgh, heading out to the west. Clear that flight plan discontinuity. It's joined up. Headed south. Yeah, so then we basically hit Bristol. Or come over the airport, loop around, back in on final. Nice. Honestly, Nick, it's huge. It overhangs by about 30 centimetres, so you clamp it to the desk and then it comes out by about 30 centimetres, because obviously it needs to do the whole, like, pendular thing that it does. So it won't fit where I thought it was going to do it, so I'm having to I'm de-rigging my entire shed and rewiring it all up to accommodate this rather large thing. Alright, I think we can push back, can't we? We've got local pressure. We're fueled. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we can push back. Everything's looking pretty good there. So, pushback plan is try and get back here, I think. Oh, there's no targets there. It's not going to work. Alright, we'll do it this way. Back. There we go. Cool, the tug. Tug is attached. Parking brake off. It's done it already, that. Why does it always do that? Why does it always stop when I press a button? don't think I'll ever get bored of that sound. It's the landing. It's alright, we're going back. You can always wind it back, but I should warn you, it wasn't my finest. It's decided to stop. Come on, back you go. That'll do. Parking brake on. Tug can go. See, the plane is saying about the nose wheel steering disc. So that'll be the tug. That'll disappear when the tug disconnects. Right. Let's get rid of the landing system. We don't need that on. So what's the plan as we come out of here? 2,300. Need to be above 4,500 at 6,000. 6,000 in the window then. Starts off at 210. Local pressure is still... oh no, yeah, 1020. Goody. Takeoff config is normal. Arm spoilers. Auto brake max. Get ready. Right, let's taxi on down. Hopefully we'll do a better job coming into Bristol than we did coming into here. I think the winds are calmer at Bristol. It certainly felt that way when we took off earlier. Definitely did not forget my taxi lights. Maybe you bleed off. Probably will need a bit more rudder input on the centre line. See that windsock there moving on the right. Definitely felt more of a windy airport, this one. Oh my god, the Phoenix. What's happened, Wessam? That is one thing that makes me think maybe I would get the Phoenix one day, just the sound pack on it. Because watching other people stream with it, it sounds... really does sound like you're in the real aircraft, doesn't it? There's a bit of FPS dip there. Right. Runway 24, let's just hold short. Let's go and line up. You talking about the takeoff, Wessam, or the landing? Take off. So keep the rudder in a way that your plane is stable, not moving off the centre line. Yeah, that's generally what I do. Right. Should we get back down to Bristol? Just taxi forward a little bit more. Okie dokie. Right, let's get our engines up to 50%. Not holding on the brakes. Am I going to get a warning? I kind of feel like I might. Just holding that rudder pedal slightly on the left. Rotate. Go. Gear up. Pretty. What's it like out the other side? That's water. So we're heading up to 6,000 feet initially, much like on the way out of Bristol, it wants us at 6,000, and then there we will stay. Until we're past all the relevant waypoints. Keeps you relatively low, doesn't it, on the way up? Why is my mouse stopped? There we go. Yeah, 6,000 until Gotham, then we go up to flight level 240. Of course, it's standard pressure up. Seems like quite a long time to keep us at 6,000 feet. I mean, we're going to be here for another 17 miles. To complete, I'll see you when I engage autopilot. Alright, no worries. Have a good takeoff. I see the pole is getting closer and closer to being 50-50. Although the Dreamliner is still in front, that does surprise me. Glasgow right ahead of us. I guess we would do, wouldn't we? almost time for us to... Oh, that was my mouse being weird. Almost time to go up to flight level 240. That's 10,000 feet. Let's get our lights off. Disarm speed brakes, flaps up, gears up, altitude, standard pressure. Looking good. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Won't be long. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Still, I have coffee now as well. So it can't be bad. Coming up on cruise, 24,000. Not that high today. I'll sit in the plane, you move the plane. Yeah, that sounds good to me. You enjoy the ride. I'll steer the plane. Oh, I really want to use this yoke. I keep looking at it, being like, I just need all those cables to arrive. So what's the top of descent point on the way back? Let's see if we can calculate that. Right, here we go. Flight level 150. What's that have? Actually, once is at 150. Then what happens? Then 7,000 at Bristol. This is where we start looping around. And 2,500. Okay, we can do that. So at Riles, 15,000. Riles in here. 175 to Riles. It's really not going to take long to drop 9,000 feet, is it? Yeah, 30 miles. 36 miles. Now, where is Riles relative to everything else? So Riles is basically as the crow flies. So we'll keep an eye on this progress page. When this gets to about 40, we'll start descending down and we'll just step ourselves down little bit by little bit. This will be the Lake District. Can't even remember the names of the lakes now. What's that big one that they always did the boat speed record on? There's Coniston. That wasn't it. That's not it, is it? It'll come to me. What you would think. Do you prefer the streams where we do a return but we go somewhere that's a bit shorter? Yeah, if we were to do like a 2-hour route or 2.5-hour route, obviously we could only do one way. I just feel like the streams are a bit more interactive if we go somewhere that's only within an hour of where, hour and a half. Then we can do there and back. Then there's 2 takeoffs, 2 landings. There's all the stuff we do during the turnaround. There's less cruise time, so we're a bit more kind of you're up and then you're down sort of thing. I don't know. Curious. Back, Wesson, how's the takeoff? Did it all go well? All went well, awesome. Where are you going? Was it Belfast to Gatwick? Did that flight recently myself actually, it's a nice route though. Should be able to see that Isle of Man, yeah, there it is. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the Airbus throttle is good for that. It is really good for that. I'm always conflicted as to what's best to do, because obviously when you fly a Boeing, there's no detents, so... I think it's best that I keep the detents when I fly Airbus, and then when I fly Boeing I just ignore them. And most of the time, like, if you're doing the takeoff and landing, most of the time, especially during the approach, if you have it in the climb detent, it's almost perfectly where it needs to be. So it's kind of, the detent's quite handy to have as almost like a marker that you feel. I mean, usually you go the lower side of it, if anything. So it's quite a handy little thing to feel like, you know, if you're there, you just come down a little bit and you can start to get right where you need it. I'm thinking about getting the add-on for the Airbus throttle. Do that and try and mod the flaps so that it will work on the Boeing as well. Because this is the thing with like the throttle, the flaps has got the detents for the Airbus flaps, which, if we have a look, so it's like off, 1, 2, 3, full. Now, I was reading on some forums with some Boeing pilots, and they were saying they do flaps 1, flaps 5. I forgot that. What was it? Flaps 1, then 5, then. Is it 10, 25, 30? Is what they do most of the time. And then I found a 3D printing file where, if you were to look at a picture of the add-on where the flaps lever is, there's a little thing that you can insert in the gap where the lever travels through, and you can replace the flaps lever such that you actually have to lift it up, much like you do in the real plane. You sort of lift it, move it, and then put it back down into a slot. So they've 3D printed like a little guard with all the little slots, and that will give you all the different flap positions for the Boeing. Also, they still line up with the ones for the Airbus, so obviously you just skip over like one or two of the Boeing ones and then land it in an Airbus slot. So the 3D print file I think was like £4, and I've got a buddy with a 3D printer who is willing and able to do it, so now I've got the yoke, that will become my next focus, I think. Destination data already. Barely at Manchester, and it's destination data. Well, you just, yeah, I did wonder actually when I looked at the Isle of Man whether you'd be sort of over there in a moment. Right, 1027. See, the wind's got up at Bristol now. It was lovely when we left. 1027. Should have done this flight the other way. 7, 260 and 9. There we go. I'll see if I can find that 3D print thing. I'll put a link to it. You can have a look for yourself. I think it looks very cool. Got it. There, Wes, some link in the chat. Hopefully you see it. Morning, Harry. Harry says, how do you turn the autopilot on the A320? This one right here, AP1. So how it works, basically these four dials do it all. Put on autopilot 1, set your altitude by twiddling this dial here. And if you click and right click it, that puts it into manage mode, so the plane will decide how much it wants to ascend or descend. Again, if you hold click and then right click these, you get these dots, which mean the speed is in manage mode, the heading is in manage mode. So the plane is deciding exactly what to do based on our flight plan. Very nice system. It's amazing how it does so much with so little, really. I'm surprised that so many more people like the 787 over the 747. I honestly thought the 747 would win in the poll. Then what do I know? The difference between 1 and 2? That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure. I think in order to do like auto lands, you should have autopilot 1 and autopilot 2 on. And I guess if they're both calculating the same data, then it's deemed as safe to continue the auto land. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure though, to be honest, Harry. I wouldn't take that as gospel. Just Googling it now, actually. Wesson might know. Okay, so someone said on Quora, what's the difference between AP1 and AP2? Someone said in real life, if I recall correctly, autopilot 1 runs off of the flight director 1, which is this one. Autopilot 2 runs off this flight director. So AP1's data input comes from the captain's side. So the flight director is this like green crosshair. So that's basically telling the plane where it should be pointed. Should it be pitched up, down, turning left, turning right. So as you can see, the plane is following this green crosshair. So as this green crosshair moves, we will follow, sort of chase it. So AP1 follows that. AP2 follows the other side. No, what? Oh, we're just asking what's the difference between AP1 and AP2. Yeah, they're both the same, but they're on off different flight directors is what we've kind of come to. There we go, look. So the plane is now chasing that crosshair again because it just moved in time for our turn. When are we going to sell perfume? Oh, this airline's rubbish, Harry. Like, you get nothing on this airline. No food, no drinks, no duty frees. It's truly terrible. Do not recommend. But it is almost time to descend in about 10 or 15 miles. So we'll start making our way down into Bristol. That's a good business plan, actually, Wesson. I'll take that into consideration. That 3D print thing, though, looks pretty cool, right? I've got a friend who's got the the Airbus TCA add-on, and they were saying in order to get the, I don't know, to go to like say flaps 5, you have to kind of get the lever between the two detents, and it would worry me that maybe it would eventually sort of click into one of them. Alright, we're descending. But yeah, I guess if you've got almost like that guard, like the little slots that you have to sort of lift your lever and slot it into one, it can't, therefore it will get it right every single time. And the slots still line up with the original ones for the Airbus, so you just use those for Airbus and you get the ones in the middle for the Boeing. Could be cool. You're making good progress, Wesson. What altitude are you at? You must be higher than what I'm at. I'm only at 240 today, so you must be at what, like 360? Oh yeah, the landing fee. Yeah, we haven't spoken about that yet. It's funny, everyone seems to pay it. Just threaten to not land. Everyone's got their credit cards immediately. No traffic for us today, Harry. We're on single player. I keep thinking maybe I should do VATSIM, but I just don't know what it would add to the stream, really. I think the streams are quite nice and chill. Plus, I always worry that, like today, I have to basically be out of here in like 40 minutes. Like, there's no argument about that. I have to be gone. Like, if I have to turn off the stream mid-descent, I would just have to do that because I have to be somewhere. Can't not be there. So my fear would be, I don't know, if we were going into Amsterdam and we got put into a hold for ages, and then we had to do a go around and we get put into another hold, and it might go badly. Plus, I kind of think like I want to be here chatting to you guys. I don't really want to be doing controller stuff. I don't know. I could be wrong. It could turn out to be really good. Bristol's not far, look, because you can see the Bristol Channel sort of cutting into the landscape here, so we're sort of heading over here. Oh, no, it'd be more like over there. I'm starting to get flashbacks, Wesson, to our like 5 go-arounds at Bristol. It was almost, this was the exact direction we came in on, I think. Bad. Lame ATC, I like it. So is live weather going to troll us again on the way down? I have a sneaky suspicion that it might. So we're almost on our waypoint here, Riles, where we need to be at 15,000, so what's next? How many miles is it to get from 15 down to 7, I wonder? 22. How many have we got? We don't have clearance. There's an idea. So, I'll just whiz through the plan. We're coming on down south. We're going to fly directly over Bristol Airport and then come around in a loop and then come in on final on the ILS runway 27. And that'll be us done for the day. Seatbelts already are on. I may have not even turned them off actually. Yeah. There we go. How do you guys live at these places? Why'd you say that, Wes? Oh yeah, like that's normal this time of year. I would actually say that's quite warm. It's even worse last week. It's like 3 degrees most of the time. Why? What are you used to? Like what, 20s? Usually on a normal day? 20s, 30s? Freezing in 20 degrees C. Yeah, so that's like a sunny day here. that's considered a good day. Oh man, those heat waves. That was not fun. That was not fun. Was it like 35 one day here? In the UK. I remember there was one day I had some video editing to do and it was so hot I just got in my car, went out for a drive, put the air conditioning on and just sat in my car with the air conditioning on in a lay-by editing video on my laptop. It's the only way I could keep cool. $50 degrees. Goodness. That's heat, that, isn't it? That's some serious heat. Okay, we're going to need to get our speed in check. $50F. So what's that? What's $50F in C? I get so confused. Welcome on in, by the way, Gaming with the Gang. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so Fahrenheit. What's Fahrenheit to Celsius? I know some people that I just kind of know in America, they say 100 Fahrenheit is a hot day. Transition altitude is 7,000. What is our local pressure? Is it still the same? 1027. Nice. 10,000 feet. Let's get our lights on. What button is it to switch camera? Depends what you're using. So I actually use my keyboard. There's Filton. Fairly certain that's where they did a lot of the test flights for Concorde. Concorde went in and out of there quite a lot. I don't mind it being like a cold wind, but it's when the ground turns cold, because I do all of this streaming stuff from a garden shed essentially, and it's built on like a little concrete pad that's kind of embedded in the ground, and when that concrete pad goes cold, it's almost like I've just got this giant cold radiator just constantly making my legs and my feet cold. I use the Game Pass. It's great that this game is on Game Pass, it really is. Alright, there's the airport just going beneath us. So we're going to do a turn. Don't know if we'll even be able to see it. No, probably not. Probably not. Is it doing that? Come on, plane, sort it out. It's going to bring us in way too late. Way too late. Seven. Cute. Alright, now we go down to 2,500. CD, what tracker do I use? What, for the map? Hey, no worries, Harry. I wish you well with them. I hope it goes well for you. The map is Sim Toolkit Pro, and obviously all the stats at the top is derived from that as well. So I put my flight plan from Sim Toolkit Pro into there. And then that draws the line. Sim Toolkit Pro. No, you don't need VATSIM. I'm not using VATSIM. I'm just here. Yeah, the in-game map isn't the greatest. To be clear, the map that you see is not actually in the game. I'm just overlaying it in my streaming software. Alright, I think we're going to do a heading select for a little while, because it's bringing us in way too tight. That'll do nicely. Sim Toolkit Pro, it's called. Right, let's do brakes medium. Let's isn't like the fact we're descending at that rate, is it? There we go. We'll do a direct to CF27. Gear down. Get the old landing system on. So actually in the real world, a lot of the braking that you do on the runway is done by the brakes rather than the reverse thrusters, unless it's obviously raining, because then the brakes are less effective. So auto brake medium will actually do most of the slowing down for us. So quite a lot of the time, which is what I understand anyway, the reversers will be set to reverse idle. So they're spun up, they're sort of in a position where they're ready to go if they're needed. But actually the brakes do the lion's share of the work. I need to see this live butter landing I usually do. Oh, don't. It's pressure's on now. Right, let's get those flaps out to full. If you wind the stream back, you can see one we did in Edinburgh about an hour ago. Although I don't really think that was a very good landing, if I'm being completely blunt about that. It was not my finest. Let's just say that. I'm trying to work out where that little town is there. Would that be Clifton, would it? Wesham's my new CFO. Right, what's that wind doing then? .330 and 20, and it's saying 260 and 9, so it's all right. Let's arm the speed brakes. Gear is down. Cabin is checked. Why don't we fly to Innsbruck? Good idea. I've done it before. Not live, I don't think. I think that was more of like a regular video, if that makes sense. But yeah, Innsbruck would be cool. I flew into Basel once. I don't think that's a million miles away. Basel was lovely. All around the mountains. Yeah, it's great. Right, I'm going to lose the map because I think we can all safely agree that, yeah, we're at Bristol. This is where yoke cam will come into its own, I think. At this point, I would enable that. Gear down, 3 greens, flaps full. There we go. Isaac knows what's up. No 5 go-rounds today. Yeah, let's make it 6. Right. Let's get approach mode on the go initially, just to see if that's all working. Seems to be good. 7. Where's Indy? Indy loves to go arounds. So we've got a 20 knot wind. It's not nothing, is it? Look, coming right at us from the side. That may ease the nearer we get. I don't know. But yeah, this is shaping up to be a crosswind landing, so that's fun, I guess. Where's Indy? I don't know. Busy. Quite often see Indy in the evening streams. Right. My aircraft. Is that wind going to sort itself out? That's the question. So we're crabbing, but we are tracking the centre line. If you imagine that line kind of extending out of the runway, we are sort of on that. It's a bit of a lump there, wasn't it? Yeah, Bath. Bath's lovely. Well, I've been through it. I've never actually been there. But yeah, Bath's a lovely place. I'd like to go there. Wow, this is so windy. Goodness gracious me. I am not making half of these inputs that you're seeing movement for. Like, the wind is just throwing us around. Woof.
1,000.
Right, I'm going to have to ignore chat for a little while, I'm afraid. I need to concentrate for this one. This is quite lumpy bumpy. What was that wind doing? Oof. Load of FPS drop there as well, that's not going to help. A bit on the high side, we'll cover that. There we go. Again, those FPS.
500.
Just stuttery sim sometimes.
400. 300. 200. 100.
There we go.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 5.
There it is. That was better than Edinburgh for sure. Even if we did have a few FPS dips. Go around. Right on time. Look at that. Hey Devash. How are you? Nice to see you in the chat. Hope I'm pronouncing your name right, by the way. Apologies if I'm not. I'm terrible at pronunciation. That wasn't bad. I'll take that. I'll give that a solid 7.5/8 out of 10. The FPS drops made it quite difficult, because that was like a good second or half a second to a second of no frames, and then the plane, when you get the frames, it's like the plane is somewhere else. And actually a second is quite a long time. Oh, bus, don't do it. Don't do it. Get out of the way. I'm just going to turn off all this ground transport stuff, because they're just mindless little bots that just go wherever they want. Yeah, keep an eye on the channel, Harry. I generally will chop up. I'll do the replays and make them into YouTube shorts. So keep an eye out for those. Oh, Tom, yeah, you just missed the landing. We've been to Edinburgh and back this morning, so we're right back where we started. It's right, you can wind it back. I'll probably make a video out of it all as well. But that weren't bad, that. Quite happy with that. Significantly better than the one in Edinburgh, but Edinburgh we were getting trolled by the wind. Live weather was doing its thing as per usual. Alright, we won't go to that one because there's the van just there for no reason whatsoever. Yeah, I've gotten to the point, Harry, where I just ignore the ground vehicles. They just troll me just to get in my way, so... Welcome back to Bristol. Right back where we started this morning. Well, thank you all very much for your company. I've had a lovely morning flying around with you all. I really have. Break on. So, my box of stuff from Amazon should be here in the next couple of hours, and I'm going to get my new Thrustmaster Boeing yoke rigged up, move my setup over to the 4K TV, and potentially we could do the next stream in 4K, although I don't know how my don't know how that would work with FPS and things like that. Yeah, you're right, Tom, AI traffic's just dreadful, isn't it? I might just turn it off. Maybe we should get GSX Pro. Maybe that'd be the way to do it. But we'll see. But yeah, I can't promise a stream tomorrow night because I could well be de-rigging my setup. I've got to de-rig it all and re-rig it. Getting this new Thrustmaster yoke has completely thrown a spanner in the works. Just because it's so big. It's so much bigger than I thought it was going to be. And where I was going to put it, it's not tenable at all to use it like that. So I'm moving my flight sim setup from my Dell gaming monitor over to my 43-inch TV that I've got sort of to my right. So I'm going to have a permanent flight sim setup over there. Then PS5 and regular PC gaming on the gaming monitor. I'm going to do a setup tour, I think. I think I should do a setup tour once I get this all sorted. I nearly did one last week, and it's a good job I didn't, because it's now all null and void because of all this rearranging I'm doing. But yeah, keep an eye out for shorts and things like that. I might even make a longer landing video of the one into Bristol, maybe the one into Edinburgh too. We'll see. Tom says I need to start watching what's been a while. Yeah, it's good to see you in the chat again, Tom. It's always good to see you. You're definitely what I would consider one of the regulars. When I see your name, I'm like, ah, yeah, it's Tom. Like, there's several people in the chat now that you kind of get that with. You kind of feel like the regulars are in. It's cool. It's really nice. But there we go. I'm going to leave it there because I do have to get gone today. We'll have to forego the onboarding process and all that. And I will see you on the next stream. Like I say, can't promise one tomorrow night, but we'll definitely be back here at the same time on Wednesday, 9:15ish UK time in the morning. In the meantime, you all look after yourselves. I'll see you soon.